What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Kiwan, and I am back with Tyler Sisters, Season 10, Episode 9, Visiting Hours. Before I start, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Click the notification bell button so you can be updated on every video I drop. Make sure y'all like the videos so I can stay in the algorithm. All right? This episode was actually okay. It was okay. It was okay. We're moving it along, but it was okay. Anyway, y'all, so the episode starts. We see Fatima sitting in this dusty, dirty apartment. Okay, it looked like Heather's old apartment, but fine. And we find out she's actually sitting in Luther's apartment, who she believed had, which they gave her a name, which was Luther. Luther was the guy who blew up Andy's car. And I was like, ma'am, aren't you pregnant? Why are we still on these missions? Why? Whatever. Fine, girl. Fine. Okay? You want to be baby madam. Okay? And y'all know I love me some Fatima. But come on. She pregnant. Anyway, Fatima asks Luther who hired him to blow up the Rolls Royce. And then we see a woman by the name of Erica walk out of the bedroom. Side note, why she gotta have my name? Okay, why she gotta have my government? Okay, whatever. So Fatima basically tell her, listen, you a smart girl. You might want to leave. Okay. So, Erica was like, listen, I gotta go. Luther was like, I paid you. I was like, oh my God, on today. Okay, he out here paying. But hey, listen, I'm not mad at people that pay for it as long as it's not children. As long as y'all not abusing children, animals, and really abusing women. Okay? So if you're paying for a service, that is fine. Fine. No judgment on my end. So Erica leaves. Looked like she went back into the room. But I guess because it looked like it was... Because she came out of the room with panties and bra. She went back in the same room. So maybe she went in there to go put on her clothes. I don't know. It don't matter. Doesn't matter. So anyway... Fatima asked Luther, what doctor, because he did disclose to Fatima that it was a doctor that told him to blow up the Rolls Royce. And she asked for a name. He couldn't give her a name. She found out that Luther was paid $4,000. I was like, Luther, that's cheap, but... He seemed to me with the if you're only getting 4K out of this, you seem extremely desperate. Like you would just seem desperate and hard up for some money. And yeah. So after we found out, I think that's when I guess they were called the Rock Boys. I forgot. Let me know if I'm right or wrong. But anyway, I want to say that's when they walked in, but we pan over to Andy and Dr. Vaughn. They walk into the restaurant and Cheyenne sees Andy and Dr. Vaughn walk in. She gets distracted because at this point she's not even listening to Hayden. And Hayden was like, asking her, listen, who's your sister? And Cheyenne never disclosed that information as of yet. And so she's still at this point, she's so focused on Andy that she's not paying attention to Hayden. And I'm just like, why are you on a date with him? But again, she said it later on in the episode that Hayden was just a meal. And I'm back a little bit confused because now I don't know where we're going with the storyline. So I don't know, y'all. I don't know. I really don't. But I'm a keep following him. So Fatima decided back over at the trap house. Fatima had her goons to come in to deal with Luther. She paid them a whole lot more money to beat the brakes off of Luther if he's still alive. Okay? So, back at the restaurant, they are 2 tables down from Andy and Reginald. And as we get the conversation between Andy and Reginald, she finally noticed Cheyenne sitting over there. And so now she's more focused on Cheyenne. Cheyenne is focused on her. Reginald is like, hey, what's going on? Like, everything is okay? And so she was like, yeah. And I was like, girl, just be honest. But whatever. He was like, you seem distracted. And she was like, no. Sorry, y'all. And so Andy denies that she's distracted. And she was like, listen, I'm paying attention to you. Paraphrasing a little bit, y'all. So Cheyenne and Hayden gets up because they're done. Walks over. He sees Andy. And the first thing Hayden says is this. And I honestly, unless there's a storyline here for Hayden, we can really do without him. If he's just there being a placeholder, we can really do without him because he is such a prick. And I think I'm just at a point where unless it's really important, then I'll bring up Hayden. But no. So anyway, Andy finally tells Hayden that Cheyenne is her sister. So of course, he's big mad. Anyway, we finally get the intro to, and we see Zach over at the gym. So we finally get the introduction of Zach and Madison. Zach is working out. Madison goes over to introduce herself. And he was like, they recognized the name. She recognized his name. And then they realized that they each know Rich. And that, she was like, he mentioned, she was trying to think of Fatima's name. And he said Fatima. And she was like, yes. And he was like, that's my girl. And she was like, yeah, that's what Rich told me. He said that you two were nice. And this is all we get. We don't get much. We just get an introduction, which is good because we're now working Madison into the storyline. And I'm thinking this is probably how Madison is going to be introduced to the rest of the women through Fatima. But I wonder if they're going to feel away if they find out, her and Rich are cool. But her and Rich haven't established anything. They're just cool. Anyway, over at the bar with Maurice and Danny, homeboy works at the bar. Y'all remember the white boy who worked at the gay bar? He now works at the bar where everybody frequents. I forget the name of the bar. So then they get a call from Pam. She didn't know the alarm code. And I just, like Cheyenne, I need Pam and Cheyenne to not be like low-key dodo birds a little bit. Okay? Just, we can wisen them up some. We need to just tune them up. That's all. So, back at the restaurant, after the back and forth between Hayden and Andy and all of the things, Cheyenne looks at Dr. Vaughn and was like, oh, so you're a doctor? And I'm just like, girl, you don't always have to be a pick-me. You don't always have to throw yourself on somebody. We need to find out who did something to Cheyenne. Did Marvin do something to Cheyenne? Because that is what I think. Okay? Anyway, before Cheyenne leaves, her and Hayden walked out. Was getting ready to was walking out. And before Cheyenne made her exit, Andy was like, do not let Hayden in my house because he's bad news. And of course, it seems as though she's being defiant, but she won't let Hayden in. But I need her to know that she's going to learn that fat meat ain't greasy. And we just going to see. So Dr. Vaughn asks if that's her sister. And he just immediately said she's trouble. And I was like, oh, wow. So back over at the bar at Billy Jake's, Maurice is sharing with Danny how he and his powdered donut man are really, really good. And then Danny gets a call from Tony. He checks in on her. He notices that words are slurring, so he notices that she's drunk, and she lets him know that I've been smoking too. So he was like, listen, I just want to wait up for you at your place just in case the creepy guy shows up. So they hang up. They get the back and forth. Danny was like, okay, whatever, I'll call you when I make it home. And Danny tells Maurice, it's nice seeing you with someone. So Maurice was like, okay, that's fine and dandy, but why is Tony so worried about your safety, and who's the creep that he speaks of? So then we get over to Zach and Fatima. Okay, so he asked her, how everything went with Andy, and she was like, what? And she was like, oh, he's like at work. You had to go, you had to meet Andy at work. And she was like, oh yeah, pregnancy brain. So she used that as an excuse. And so she was like, everything was good, but we all know Fatima was over at Luther's. All right. So he tells Fatima about Madison, and he gave her, she was like, well, she gave me her card. Fatima took her card and was like, I need to check up on her to see if Fatima trusts nobody. And we are really seeing that in this season. Like, we've seen it, but not like we're seeing it now. Because we all know she don't trust Keys, which we hadn't seen him in quite a while, but he'll be back next week. So basically, Fatima feel like, listen, I need to check her out. Fine, girl, fine. So she asked if he talked to Keys, and I think I just said that. He said no. He said he had not talked to Keys in a while, and she was like, well, have you talked to him about your dad? And then that's when Zach becomes avoidant, because of course he doesn't want to talk about his father because he doesn't care to know. Well, Fatima thinks that Keys is his father, and so do we. So we just need to know what the real truth is. I don't know how all of these people... It's something odd, y'all. I can't really place my finger on it, but y'all know my thoughts be all the way over there. And I be loud and wrong. And I feel like I'm loud and wrong, but I feel like something. I don't know. Somebody ain't right. At least we knew what we got with Gary. Like, we knew Scary Gary was who he was. But these people, yeah, we don't know. So, I don't trust it. I'm back. I'm like Fatima. I'm back. I don't trust it. Okay? Oh, child. So, back at Andy's. So, Cheyenne was like, listen, Hayden really hates you. And she was like, the feeling is mutual. And then Andy gets a visitor, and it's Agent Watt. And I was like, ma'am, you need to fire your door person. Okay, because he's just letting everybody up on your elevator. Yeah, no ma'am. So in the next scene, we see Dr. Green. He's like literally bamming on Danny's door, and he's looking for her. And then one of the neighbors was looking out of her door, and he was like, what are you looking at? And I was like, he is so creepy. He needs his ass whooped. Okay? We cannot wait for the demise of Dr. Green. Of Officer Green. I cannot wait for that. I dislike Officer Green more than I dislike Hayden. And y'all know that gotta say something. Like, Hayden is pesky. But this is something else. So anyway, I'm wondering though if he had anything to do with Andy's car being blown up, because y'all remember she turned him down. And if he paid homeboy and said that it was a doctor. Like, I don't know. I feel like something, y'all. I don't know. I'm getting agitated because I just want to fill in the blanks with all of this. We're at episode 9, and stuff is just slowly connecting too slow for me. Anyway, it does build up a lot of anticipation, and I'm fine with it. So the neighbor was outside. And he was like, "Go back in the house," and she went inside, closed the door. So I'm hoping we can get this neighbor to talk to Danny and to talk to Tony. But honestly, we really need to get Danny out of this apartment, and I'm hoping by season 11 she is in a newer place, having a fresh start. She have a fresh start in the job. She needs a fresh start in a new apartment. Again, me rambling. So after she doesn't answer the door, well, he calls her phone, because back at the bar, Maurice is still asking Danny about the creepy guy, and she tell him, she was being stalked by a guy, and then they get into a scuffle. So he was like, "What type of a scuffle?" And so Danny started to be really vague because she didn't want to talk about it. But then she have a flashback. It wasn't long this time, but she did have a flashback of the night everything happened between her and Officer Green when he assaulted her. So Maurice asked Danny if she's okay and if it was only just a scuffle. This is when Danny gets ready to leave. She gets a call. This is when she gets a call from Officer Green, but she doesn't answer. And Maurice was like, "Are you headed home?" She was like, "I have to go." And he was like, "Are you headed home? You're my ride," yada, yada, yada. And she gets up and leaves. So back at Andy's, Agent Watt enters her apartment and tells her that things have escalated. And Cheyenne's standing there in that little ass nightgown. "Ma'am, go put some clothes on or go in the room. Okay, go." And so she's standing there like, I like Cheyenne, but the little pick-me that she is, and I like the fire that she brings to this season. It's not insufferable to me. I can't speak for anybody else, but for me, it's not insufferable. But she do little things, and you be like, "Girl, come on." Anyway, she cheesed up she just just cheesed up in Agent Watts' face. And I'm like, "Girl, he is not to be trusted." So, according to Agent Watts, the Bureau wants to put Andy in protective custody because she has a hit out on her. He tells Andy she's the only one at risk, and he suggests that she put her cases on hold. Andy was like, "No." So Andy tells Watt since y'all know if the order is coming from Dr. Cruz, then why won't y'all go arrest him? So Watt said said that this is where things get great. And I'm looking at him like, something in the milk ain't clean. Something in the milk ain't clean, y'all. I don't know. It could be. I don't know. I never trust Watt. And I don't know if he's somehow connected to homeboy, Officer Green. I'm still going to keep that in the back of my mind, but Andy is like, "No," because she asked, "Are there any other people at the firm that's being looked at or have to take this same stance, especially asking about Fatima?" And he was like, "No." Okay, something really ain't right. So Watt says to Andy that there is no direct connection linking Dr. Cruz to this. Okay, so is it the officer? Because I feel like it was the officer that blew up Andy's car. I don't know what he did. I don't know what's happening, but it feels as though Dr. Green is somewhere in this. I don't know. So in the whole time all of this is going on, Cheyenne is in Andy's room listening. She's watching and listening. So after Watt leave, Andy calls Fatima and she tell both Zach and Fatima, what happened. She tell him that a contract for a hit has been put out on her. And Andy tells Fatima, she was like, I asked about you and they said it's not me. It's only me and not you. And Zach was like, thank God. I mean, I get it. That's why I wasn't mad at him. But anyway, I was like, this is crazy. And so Andy gets another phone call, but this time it's Danny. And Danny comes up on the elevator. And so Andy saw Cheyenne, Danny saw Cheyenne, didn't recognize her. She was like, who is this? Who is this woman? And so Andy was like, this is my sister, Cheyenne. And so the way Danny was just happy to see her, I was like, okay. And we all, everybody, Danny tells Andy that she stopped by to see Sabrina, and a social worker talked to her about the legalities of Sabrina. But because Danny has a lot going on, she was like, I wasn't even listening. I didn't remember what was going on. And so Andy kept asking her, are you okay? What's going on? And as Danny do, she kept saying, I'm okay. I'm okay. And again, Danny is drunk and high, and she's trying to cope, but that's not the way to cope. But hey, for Danny, this is what she does. So Danny finds out that Cheyenne is looking for a salon job, and Danny was like, listen, I'm not just going to give you the job. You're going to need to apply for the job. And Andy's going to tell you what everything is. And you're going to talk to human resource. By the way, I'm human resource. I was like, okay, that was cute. So, again, Andy's asking Danny what's going on. She didn't tell Andy anything. And she leaves. She was like, I have to go. And once she returns home, we see Tony there at the door waiting on her. Now, Tony was a day late and $1 short to miss Officer Green, which I'm glad he was, because that was going to turn into another scuffle, and which could probably land Tony in jail, and that's not what we want right now. That's just me thinking. So Zach, after, they have the conversation on what's going on with Andy. So Zach feels like, I really need to be driving you to work because all of this is going on. I don't want it to affect you. And of course, Fatima got it. Be pregnant. But y'all know she got it. Okay, she got everything under control. So in the last scene, we see Officer Green is outside of Andy's door. And this is where the episode ended. Y'all, it wasn't really nothing to this episode, but it was okay. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't good. But it wasn't good. It was okay. It was okay. It was okay. I feel like House of Pain was a little better than this, because we actually got something out of it. But I think this episode is just still them building. And now I feel, I like I told you, I feel a little bit confused on what are we building for. But I guess you got to come back and see. So y'all know next week, Keys is going to be back. Fatima's going to be asking questions. She's going to have a conversation with Keys. What else happened? I think that's the only thing I remember. I think that was just the 15-second trailer. I think there's going to be like another one, like a longer one, maybe 30 seconds. Or I don't know if it's initially 30 seconds. I don't know how all of this works, y'all. Y'all know I don't do trailers. I have to watch the episode, and I like to see it in real time and be surprised. Anyway, y'all, my apologies for this review being late, but I was on a live earlier. And I was over at Mrs. Best's channel and watching my reviews, and we were talking about we were reviewing Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. All right. Anyway, y'all go over there to their channel, follow, comment, like, subscribe over there. They are really good people. In my best James voice, tell them I sent you. And this is where the episode ended. Tomorrow, I don't have anything brewing. Tomorrow is, again, on the phone. The date's on the phone. The day is on the phone. Tomorrow is Thursday, so I don't have anything. The next time y'all will see videos will be Friday, and that will be the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Love During Lockup, the final season of Love During Lockup, and Bell Collective. Until then, y'all, I will see y'all Friday. I will see y'all Friday. What was I about to say? Oh, okay. So anyway, before I go, this is your girl Kiwan reminding you to keep showing up, keep growing, stay true to yourself, and I will see y'all in the next video.